In this module, we will cover the branding strategy of luxury and fashion organization, of course, and made in Italy excellent organizations. First, important thing to understand in branding strategy is that current successful organization, especially Italian, made in Italy successful organizations, they start to communicate not just the product or specific services, but in the branding strategy, the whole organization is promoted in a way. The whole organization takes part in developing a value of the overall brand. Let's see what we mean by the whole organization. The whole organization means that basically all elements that has to do with the organization, all the traditional stakeholders like employees, for instance, or suppliers enter in this role of communicating not just the product that comes for a certain luxury organization, but the overall management values. The idea that these values have a based in something that goes really beyond the idea of a product, but go in a way of intending how to make business. So intending the concept of what is my identity? What does it mean to have an authentic quality product? What is the role of the employees in creating high-end quality products? So you see here that the concept of employees that match the identity of the organization. If you go to see some organization excellent, for instance, Brunello Cucinelli, the first impression is to watch the employee at work, and you totally understand that they are immersed in this concept of developing high-end products because they actually are part of the communication of the overall brand strategy. And the authenticity, what is the authenticity? The authenticity has to do with craftsmanship and traditional production methods. Of course, the place of origins and the place of manufacture, they're committed to a certain region, to certain material, to certain tradition, to certain history. All this is part of the overall sort of house that you have to build. Of course, it has to have strong base within the concept of being honest, transparent, sustainable, because this is the only way or the best way to create a virtual circle, and not a vicious circle, a virtual circle that would be able to communicate in many different parts, that the organization is consistent in delivering value, first internally to the own employees, and externally then to the clients and the suppliers. We can think that this is, in one word, the concept of the value equal equity. The brand equity in the past used to be brand knowledge, awareness, strong recognition and recall. A lot of times companies used testimonial like top actors or sports people in order to associate and be able to recall a certain brand and be known by a majority of potential clients, so they could really easy be able to be aware of the existence of a certain brand. Today we move way more in the concept of image, and the image is not given by just a testimonial. An image is given by, the products you make, but also the work of the employee that they're making this product. So the supplier you're working with all these elements, and of course, the more there is consistency between these elements, the more the image can be associated with a strong, favorable, but most important, unique. So what you communicate, what your employee, your product, the place where you work, also the place of work communicates. Imagine a company developing high-end product in a not nice office, or in a place where the conditions of work are not great. Of course, that is not a unique positive association. A unique positive association if there is consistency between the place where employee work, the product that this company makes, and all over. Where is you can find this? Where are the places you can find this identity? You can find it in the store. Of course, also in the identity of the product as a style, in the store, in the retail, in the website, if you deliver also, you use e-commerce, you deliver online products. In the communication. So the communication sometimes speak about the company, it doesn't speak about the product, of course. It speaks about the company. The communication talks about what the company does, what the employee, how is the internal way of interacting between an organization, what is the way to interact with suppliers, what is the way to interact with customers. So this is all creates a sort of identity. And this identity, of course, is a blend of all these things. It's the stylistic identity, retail identity, communication identity. And then in fashion, for instance, you have only seasonal codes. So maybe you have a product strategy that's particular, communication strategy that is just for one season, and also distribution strategy could be only for one season. But the most important thing in fashion and in luxury in general is not to lose the identity. Too many times we have observed organizations that in order to change, they change too much. Maybe fashion happened frequently, season by season, they changed a lot, and this led to a confusion that the organization couldn't understand. What was the identity? What was the identity of the style? What was the identity of the store? What was the identity of the communication, the videos that you promoted to your clients? To keep the sense of identity, it's very important to analyze that for most of the luxury, especially made in Italy company, the concept of heritage is key. That links actually the legend, the place of origin, the people, and the product. This is a sort of the area where the concept of identity is mostly fixed. So the place of origins, that has to be the same without, too many projects of going in different places and outsourcing. The concept of the people, there has to be a tradition of the people that work with, people that maintain its tradition, working for the same organization for years, or suppliers that continue to interact with the organization for years. And of course, the continuity in products that are linked to the heritage, and the idea of the legend that comes on and continues. So how is this communication in luxury done? And it depends once again from the different layers. Many times we show these pyramids of, going from the bottom, in which we tend to go to mass market, to the top, in which we tend to go to the top luxury. And so of course it changes. In the lowest layer we go close to mass market, or we are in mass market, where we use mass media advertising, in-store promotion, and then level up, celebrity advertising, maybe a bit of online advertising. But of course, the more we go up, it is not just ad, but is in the top art, shows, brand ambassadors, creator, restricted event, moments in which basically you do not promote the organization, but you talk about the connection between art and food and fashion and luxury, and you try to recreate the value of the organizations. At the end of this module, we have also to make a difference between luxury European approach, and of course Italian and American approach. What is very important that here this reflects the difference between the two cultures. The US culture is more concrete, more open to the future, more future oriented rather than past oriented, and so it of course focuses on clients and on store experience and points of sale commerce, corners, and also e-commerce. And a European or Italian approach to luxury that is more focused on the epic opera product, who were the creators, then the history in general, and a little bit less on the storytelling. Now, what we can say, and we say many times in all of my courses, that one key element is the blend, taking the best of these two cultures and combining them together. So in this way, how can this happen? It can happen combining the history with the storytelling. The story of a certain territory with a storytelling about the current situation and the current customer experience. And of course, if it's an Italian company with a lot of history, the challenge is to, utilize a little bit of the American approach to luxury. If it's, a US company that has no history, again, like examples of US company that start, and what they can do in order to get a little bit of this history, they can come and operate and open a store maybe, or relate with suppliers of a certain area that has history. And that, for instance, is Italy. If you're a shoemaker, you come to Italy, you create relationship with all the suppliers, you open maybe a pop-up store in Italy or more than one, and that is the link with the history. And with the combination of these two, you can create really brand that could be modern and can be complete, and they would be able to successfully communicate to its customers.